Well, first, I want to welcome this incredible group of all female CMOs to the stage. Woo-hoo. So we're here to talk about rewriting the rules of the C-suite. Let's start off with just a couple quick introductions. Introduce yourselves to us and maybe share one career move that maybe felt risky at the time, but ultimately became pivotal in where you are today. Sharon, I'll let you kick it off.
Good morning. I am Sharon Peters. I'm EVP and Chief Marketing Officer at Spectrum. And I would say a risky move that paid off was coming to Spectrum. It required a move, or I decided to move because I didn't want to commute very long. And I had a few different options at the time, but I'm really glad that I made that decision, and it definitely paid off.
Hi, I'm Mimi Swain. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for Amazon Devices. And a story I often share about a risk I took was 10 years ago, actually a little more than 10 years ago. I was at a career crossroads and I sent a cold email to the founder of Ring and got a chance to meet him a few weeks later. And then he hired me on the spot. And I think that just unlocked a number of different things and growth in my career.
That's awesome.
Hi, Jessica Williams, CMO of OnePay. I don't think it was risky, but I just started this CMO role, my first, a few weeks ago. So I'm excited to build this company's marketing department. They don't have one. Left a job that I loved at Shopify, but wanted to take this jump. Thanks for having me here.
Hi, good morning. I'm Vanessa Wallace. I'm the CMO of GLD. It's a fashion jewelry company based in Miami. And I would say the risky move that I took was I spent most of my career at Nike. I was there for about 19 years and went on a sabbatical and decided I wanted something new and different in my life. And so about 3 years ago, I left, but it's paid off dividends. While I grew up there, it was really, really an amazing experience to go somewhere and learn something new.
That's great. I love the diverse backgrounds here, and each of you have really stepped into your current roles from some really different circumstances. Obviously, Jess is building something new. Mimi was with a company that was acquired and now part of a much larger company. Vanessa and Sharon are years of transformation at companies. Looking back, what's kind of surprised you most once you actually are sitting in the CMO role? And Sharon, you're next to me, so I'll hand it to you.
I would say the scope of the role, the depth and the breadth. I had been at the company for over 5 years when I stepped into the CMO role, so it wasn't learning the business, but it was really understanding the company at an enterprise level and how marketing works across product and service and sales and the amount of information that I need to know. I say I go to one meeting, I need to be an engineer. The next one, I need to be a lawyer. And it's not as much the marketing and the functional job, but it's really leading the company's perception, both internal and external. So I would say the scope and the breadth of the role.
Which definitely leads to, an interesting question for the group as well, is as CMOs today, you have to know everything, right? It's no longer just about brand or advertising. It's media, it's technology, it's data, AI, MarTech, AdTech, the list goes on. How has the role changed, and is it now harder or is it just different? And Mimi, I'll kick it to you.
I mean, I think it's so much harder because expectations are just so high because of what Sharon was talking about, like the context switching that you have to do, from meeting to meeting to like problems that are like high level to like deep down and like, wait, what's happening? And so I think that I think it's just harder because the expectations are so high and all the things that like a marketer is supposed to do. Like you're supposed to be an expert at generating demand and an expert at brand and like all of these things. And like we're also operating this really, dynamic, environment now with AI and how that's changing our workflows and changing our work. And so I just think it's super challenging in terms of all the things that we're juggling at any time.
Vanessa, anything to add?
No, I was going to say, I absolutely agree. I think it's become harder and more complex to what the lady said before. I think it's not only understanding consumer insights and meeting them where they are, but how those inform business decisions. Consumers have changed. The marketplace has changed. So I think staying up on that information and then having to show up and come with a strong point of view. And I think longer the days where you're just look at one dimension of marketing, you have to think about the entire landscape because of how it impacts the business. So it keeps us on our toes for sure.
It's also changed so much. I mean, I think before it was like massive media buys where you would just hand all of your media dollars to an agency to then distribute into the places where you were going to get the most reach. But now it is organic social. So you have to be really good at creative. It's influencer and creator. So you have to have a team, and a understanding of how that works. It's, everything flowing into paid to make sure that you can then reach everybody or that you can convert them. No longer are we just like throwing money into large ad or television buys. It's so many more pieces of the puzzle.
So with that, what % of your time do you really feel is focused on marketing versus kind of business leadership and driving the companies forward?
I would say 28.5735% is marketing.
So good.
And then the rest is leadership.
Janitorial duties, whatever else they throw at you. HR, some crisis. So it's like a number of different things. But yeah, I think the 70-30 split is probably what the reality is.
Yeah.
30% marketing.
And I think the other piece too that's really interesting, 100% agree with that, like the split is also, if it is marketing, it's usually the marketing operations and how we can be better efficient at all of our different channels, or do we have the right organizational setup to like meet the demands of where the business is leading. So I would even say within marketing, it almost is an even smaller percentage of what you're doing around the creative piece of it versus the operations part of it.
Sure. And I'm sure in your roles, you really are tasked, like you said, Vanessa, with efficiencies and, it's become more diversified. There's simply so many more options for you now. You can't just dump your money in a large TV buy. You have to be really strategic about it. So it's great to see that you're all focusing on that. I would be remiss. Obviously, we have some amazing female leaders up here, but many large organizations are still, their leadership teams are predominantly lacking women on the leadership. And I know, Sharon, when we were chatting, you mentioned that you went into a Spectrum executive meeting with 18 executives and you were one of 4 women in that room. As you've all advanced in your careers, what have you learned about really commandeering a seat at that table and how to make your voices really heard when big decisions are being made?
It's not about being the loudest in the room. And yes, sometimes I'm the only woman and there's 20 men in the room. I would say it's building trust over time and really focusing on each of those individual relationships and having them understand the value that I bring. So when I do speak, they listen. But that takes time, and building trust is really, really important, and having those relationships and having them value my perspective as a leader, not as a female leader.
I also think that earlier on in my career thought that there was like almost a secret playbook that everyone had. And so when you unlocked, a certain level that you would get this playbook, and then you realize that everyone's just kind of figuring it out as they go. So I think that's like one of the frames you can bring to anything, that people are just actually figuring out at the same time. And you just have to learn to ask the right questions, to listen for the insights and connect the dots.
Agree. I came into an all-male sort of financial executive team. I think there's 2 is just coming with conviction on my ideas and, what I want to get done, and then really understanding the trade-offs on the business. So if we're going to do this thing, I understand the impact that it will have on the business. But I still think that we should do it. So making sure that they know that I know the ramifications of what this means for others on the executive team, whether it be the CTO, the CPO, or our CFO.
Yeah, I would say very similar to what the ladies have already said. Sometimes I'm only a woman, or sometimes I've been the only person of color in the room. And I think usually what I have walked in with is I deserve to be in this room. And I have had lots of experiences that have brought me to that place. And I think also being, you said it, convicted in your point of view. And I think that that has helped me either unlock other things or feel more confident once you're in the room. And then not being afraid, because you bring that unique point of view. And we know as women and women leaders, there's unique ways that we do lead. And so being confident in that.
So if someone wants to become a CMO 5 years from now, kind of what is the one skill they should start developing today that you feel, really guided you through your career? I'm going to throw it to Vanessa because I was like, she seemed to be thinking.
Yeah. No, if I had to think about one particular skill set, I think it's somewhere between the art of communication and storytelling, because I think everything about the business or even yourself, you have to be able to frame it in a way to tell a unique either position or story. And I think the way in which you communicate, depending on the outcome, the situation, the meeting, all kind of boils down to that. And so I think even when you're in tough conversations, you have to go into it knowing what do you want out of that what do you want out of that discussion, and what are the points to get you there? So I think the value of being able to communicate really well.
I love that. I was thinking about this question. I don't know if this is exactly a skill, but my network has gotten me everywhere in my career. And, I tell the new grads that I mentor, building a network of people who will say your name when you're not in the room is how I've gotten every job. It's how I got this one. Really taking the time to build relationships, to have conversations, to go out of your way, to go to the event, to support that person, to have that coffee chat is truly what things are built on. And so that is my recommendation always.
It's awesome.
Which is so important. It's also, surrounding yourself with those people that you want to have your name come out of their mouths. So I feel like you can't get off a panel in Cannes without talking about it. So obviously AI is a big topic of discussion for marketers. Look, we all know AI is reshaping marketing faster than any technology we've seen in the last decade. What excites you most about AI? And, we'd love to know what concerns you most at the same time. So Mimi, I'll start with you because I think Amazon knows a little about AI.
A little bit, yeah. No, I think, as it relates to AI and our, I've been really amazed at what it's been able to unlock for our teams around just even in the creative process. How do we cut down, weeks of work because of ideation and create, some of the work we can do from a creative standpoint. I think I'm most excited for the role it will play in reducing friction and handoffs, right? As we as marketers sort of build these, information cores around our customers and connecting all the different signals across customer service and all the customer touch points. I think it makes us stronger marketers. So I'm really excited for the opportunity to sort of tap into, this sort of deeper core using AI. I think the thing that worries me is that there's in some ways we have to be careful that it doesn't devalue our work, especially in storytelling, or someone thinking well, I can just now take your work and put it into AI and somehow think that it doesn't really value the work and the expertise and the craft that we bring to our jobs.
I would say I'm excited about the connecting everything. When I got into the role a little over 4 years ago, part of my vision was this AI engine before AI is what it is today or will be, in a year or two from now. And there's so many different tools. It can be overwhelming. But I think really setting that vision for what you want it to do for the business and how that connects to everything, that's really exciting. We look at it in 3 ways. One is how do we use AI to improve results, improve effectiveness? The second one is how do we use it to improve speed and agility? And we've already seen a lot from this. And then the third is efficiency. And what I'm not crazy about is other people looking at the efficiency first. So immediately, you have this tool, how many people can you cut out? And yes, there will be efficiency, but AI is also creating jobs that didn't exist before. There's going to be new jobs that don't exist today. And just the change in AI search, the change in, social and algorithms requires us to create so much more content. And I want to make sure that creativity, is not replaced by AI. I think it can be enhanced by AI. And so I'm really excited about the opportunity with connecting everything and being able to, see results sooner, make decisions sooner, optimize automatically. I don't like this waiting my turn because I don't have the mic all the time, by the way, but I'll give it up again.
I don't think there's anything that they haven't said. I just think the opportunity for creativity has just 10x because everything will look the same. And so our opportunity as marketers to bring the weird and the wonderful, the things that don't scale, the things that, people can really emotionally connect to, like, optimization until our eyes bleed, but truly like what's going to matter is true creativity and getting back to that. So that's what I'm most excited about because I think it really gives us an opportunity to like show up in places where most won't because they've all optimized the hell out of it with AI efficiency.
Yeah. I think same. I think the innovation that could come from AI is what's really exciting. But I think in the day-to-day, what we have used is based on efficiencies. We have a small marketing team. As we think about creative and being where the consumer is, it's been able to make us move faster. But I definitely feel like that trade-off to ensure that people are going to want and crave things that are authentic, because we can all now tell when something has been generated by AI. And so I think that innovation and creativity that comes from that.
Not just tell, but now starting in New York, they're requiring us to put it, put it in there. So really, you'll be able to see what's real and what's not.
I know we're probably getting a little tight on time, so pivoting a little bit. The title of the panel is Rewriting the C-Suite Rules, right? So in your careers, what's something you believed you needed to do to become a leader that it turned out might not have really been true? Something that kind of brought you around a different path?
I think for me, it was thinking that I had to have all of the answers all of the time. And I think as you get further in your career and seeing the seat longer enough, you know what you're really good at and you hone in on those strengths. And then, like everyone says, I think you surround yourself with really talented, smart people on your team who are going to be diverse in their thinking and what they bring to the table. So then your collective team is really, really strong. So you don't have to have all the answers as a leader.
I think there's also this myth of like, you need to feel ready. This idea we tell ourselves that like, oh, I need to have X role at this company or do it for X number of years to like sort of feel ready for the next thing. And what I found in most careers is actually the confidence comes after the leap. So just go after the thing and then, confidence comes versus sort of waiting for it.
Both thinking that I had to have all of the answers, but also that I could somehow be less involved in everything and be able to just hand things off. I find that I'm even more involved, but in so many different things. And that was different than what my expectation was. And by the way, my legs are burning. It's not good.
Those were all really good. I don't know if I have anything else. Just that careers are not linear and it's not always like up. I think most of the biggest jumps I've made in my career are out, taking, roles that are parallel to my current one, but in, new divisions or industries or whatever that may be. So thinking about a career is far more than just to the right and up.
Yep.
I like it. Yeah, the idea time doesn't matter. It's really kind of your ambition that's driving you. All right. So one final question, because I know we're going to get the wave. If there's a woman sitting in the audience here aspiring to be in the C-suite, what's one thing you hope that she leaves this cafe believing today? And I'll go right down the line, starting with Sharon.
Believe that you can do it if you want it, but understand you're going to have to work for it, that you get out what you put in.
I think I would encourage anyone wanting that they shouldn't wait for all these perfect conditions and just to move and make the leap and sort of take the steps to become the version of self that you want.
tell anyone that will listen that that's what you want, because closed mouths don't get fed.
Amen.
Yeah. Such a great, I would just recap what everyone said, but I also think run your own race. I think so many times we look left and right. And so thinking about your own career path, being really clear about that, and going after what you want to. Sometimes you can be inspired by others, but you also have to understand that your path is your path in journey.
No, I love that. Go ahead, maybe you got
No, I don't. It's just
one more.
all these-
That's just
I
your
love all
resting
those.
face.
I love it. I'm like in action. I'm like prepared. I'm like ready for the next one.
Well, I want to thank all of you for being here and inspiring this group of females. And I hope the rest of Cannes is fantastic for everybody.
Thank you,
Thank
ladies.
you.
Very good.